Hello guys, what's up? Welcome back to my channel. So today I am doing a new bike day, but this time it's not a bike for me, it's a bike for Hunter. Spoiler alert, he's had this bike now for almost a year, but I'm just getting around to doing a review on it. Now that I've actually had the chance to ride it and things, I thought I would kind of tell you guys my thoughts on it. So first, let me tell you what I was looking for in a bike. So I didn't want to go out and buy something that was like $5,000, $6,000, not knowing if he would really get into the sport. And at the same time, I didn't want to get him a cheap bike either. So what I was looking for was a full suspension mountain bike around the $2,000 mark that had hydraulic brakes, of course, dropper post, which you'd be surprised that a lot of bikes around this price point don't come with a dropper, which is just kind of weird to me. Every bike should have a dropper on it now, especially if you're getting into 2,000 plus. I feel like everything should come with a dropper, but some don't. I wanted it to have a dropper, I wanted it to be a 29er, and I wanted it to be a one by. I literally looked at every single bike brand that there was out there to see what I could find in a bike, and funny enough, I land back with the Giant Stance 2, the 2022 model, which if you guys recall, that was my very first full suspension mountain bike that was, I believe it was a 2016. And now my mom has that bike, but it was such a great bike to me. It was truly a workhorse bike. I beat that thing to death and it never broke. So I'll get into the specs in a minute, but the one thing I didn't get was a 1x12. I really wanted the 1x12. I ended up with a 1x11, which is fine. It's not the end of the world at all. It was really hard to get everything that I wanted at that price point. So there were some things I had to let go of, which the 1x11, not a big deal at all. It's fine. But that was just one thing that this bike was lacking. So I'm going to read some of the specs that this bike has because I do not have this memorized whatsoever. So we've also made a few upgrades to the bike, which I will show you, just very minor upgrades, but I will go through that in a second. As for a fork, this is a Giant Crest fork. It's 130 millimeters of travel. I didn't even know Giant made their own forks, but we'll probably upgrade that at some point for him, but for right now, it's totally fine. The rear shock is a Suntour Raidon. I hope I'm saying that right. The rims are a Giant AM29 alloy, tubeless ready. The hubs are a Giant Tracker, Performance Boost. Tires, these came with Maxxis Forecaster. He's really wanting more knobby aggressive tires, so we'll be upgrading those here shortly. Shifters are Shimano Dior. Rear derailleur is Shimano Dior M5 120. The cassette is a Shimano Dior 11x46, and then the seat post is a Giant Contact Switch, saddle, Giant Romeo. So that's pretty much it for the specs. Now, what are my thoughts on this bike? So as you guys recall, this is the bike that made me want to change my bike to a mullet bike. So let me talk about some things that I really like about this 29er. It's a great climber, it gets you up the mountain nice and easy. What I will say, the biggest point on this bike that is just kind of really mind-blowing to me is because of the wheel size, you don't really realize you only have 130 millimeters of travel and 120 in the rear. It feels like you have so much more, which is the biggest thing that I noticed with this bike and was just very weird, especially comparing it to my bike. Because it's literally half of my bike when it comes to travel, and the wheels just really filled that gap in, which was incredible to me. So it's a really fun bike to ride. I really enjoyed it. The one thing that I will mention that I'm not the biggest fan of on this bike is the drivetrain. This bike was dropping a chain like crazy. Very rarely now will he drop a chain with the chainstay, but overall, it's pretty much eliminated that, but that was the biggest issue with this bike, was it was just dropping a chain like crazy every time he would go down something rough. Again, that's probably something he'll want to upgrade in the future, is to get a whole new drivetrain, but for right now, it's working, so it's fine. So he hasn't made too many upgrades to this bike yet. Some of the things that he swapped out so far have been the grips. He changed those to P&W components, just to kind of match his overall color scheme he has going on. It's blue, so he's kind of doing blue touches throughout the bike. Put on a new mud guard by Mucky Nuts. He also put new valve caps on there, which are blue. These are the ones I'm running on my bike as well. They double as a valve core, which is really helpful, and one thing that I really like about them when I want to easily just throw in some sealant in my tires really quickly. So those are really nice, very inexpensive. I believe they're by Gravity, and they're about 10 bucks on Amazon. So for pedals, he installed some of the Crank Brothers Stamp 1 pedals. I am not a fan of these pedals at all. When I've ridden this bike, I feel like my feet are constantly slipping off. They just do not provide a lot of grip whatsoever. So not a fan. I'm coming from the 1UP composite pedals, which are fantastic and super aggressive, have large pins in them. They grab your shoe. They're very, very grippy. So they do not compare to those whatsoever. So I'm trying to get him to swap those out and get some like I have, because they're just way better than what he has on there currently. Anyways, that's about it for this bike review, guys. I hope you guys enjoy. I'm going to add a little footage of Hunter riding. He's been riding for a little less than a year now, which is crazy. And he literally started at ground zero with cardio, had no cardio whatsoever. And as you guys know, mountain biking is extremely tough when you have no cardio. It takes a lot to build that up and a lot of willpower there and mental discipline. So super proud of him for just getting on the bike and pushing through all the pain there. So he's literally turning into a monster on the mountain now.
Woo! Oh God, I almost hit that with my toe. Last time we did this, we had the dogs, so we couldn't go too fast through here. Now we can let her eat. Oh my gosh, I almost wrecked right there. Over the middle. Bad line, but made it out. Here, Morgan's right behind me still. Woo! That was pretty sweet. Up and out of the saddle, like Kindle Tool said. In 3, 2, 1. Peloton riders know what I'm talking about. Kindle Tool might be the baddest instructor out there. She wasn't kidding when she said this was a little on green. We're still going. My hands are tired. Holding on. cool. Nice little drop going about 40 miles an hour. Who knows what the speed of it is. I don't know. Just making it up. Oh, baby, that's fun. Oh, we're down to the bottom now. Sweet. Time to get into the creek. Yeah, baby. High five, that was sick. Way better when you don't have the dog slowing you down.
That's why you do bull right there.
That was cool.
Hands.
My hands are on fire.
Oh.